to talk about gear today. Gear is super important if you're a kayaker. It's even more important if you're not, but we're kayakers, so we're going to talk about this gear. Got lots of gear at home. That's not what I bring on my boat. The gear I keep on my boat is kayak gear, and you need all of it. You can't have too much gear on your deck. That's where you need it. You're out there in the water. You want access to everything at all times. Think of this as your operating table. You're the surgeon. You're going to want a tow belt in case you need to tow someone, in case someone needs to tow you. You got to be really careful with these things. They get all over the place. You do not want that to happen on the water. Are you still rolling? Okay. So imagine you're a doctor or lawyer, and you want access to all your operating equipment from the cockpit. Let's see what I've got here. I've got a Greenland paddle. I've got a Greenland paddle with skull on it. I got a Greenland paddle. That's a short one. I got my Euro paddle, because these things don't do too much, but they're there if you need them. Or if you run into someone like a Greenlander who needs a paddle, because that happens. I got a rolled up plastic thing. I got a pump in case you need to pump out. I got another pump in case you need to pump out the back. So I got one for both ends. That's really not going to happen in a good kayak because you've got bulkheads front and back, so the front's going to fill up with water and the back's going to fill up with water. It leaves the cockpit's full of air, so you don't even really need to pump out in that situation. But, you know, my motto is, you're a doctor or a lawyer, you want to have all your equipment out there on the operating table. Let's see what else we've got. I like to keep my other Greenland paddle tethered to the deck. This one's pretty short. Sometimes I can paddle with it in the kayak. It can be a tight squeeze, but again, it's all there. That this can be a very handy way to launch your kayak. The helmet, it's good to have it right up here if you need to get it. I call this the pop and lock. You pop out, grab it, pull it up, pop back in, put it on, and lock it.
So it's more like a pop, and lock.
Stay. I'm not sure what that's for, taking the boat. And you got these. I'm not sure what that's for.
What's the most important piece of equipment?
It's your wits and your knife. When you're in the shit and you need it, you need a knife to cut something up. Maybe maybe there's a seal down there, and you gotta cut it up, keep it away from you. You gotta have a knife. You gotta keep your knife sharp. Keep it clean. I like to keep a little rust on my blade in case I am fighting with a seal. If I stab it, it'll poison it and it will die very slowly. I have my radio in case you need to call for help, which I don't think I've ever had to do that, because when you're the doctor or lawyer of your boat, you're out there. It's like your operating table. You don't need help unless you need a nurse, and hopefully you're not calling for a nurse on your radio. And this one doesn't even work. That's how much I don't need it. And here's my compass. This is what I use to calibrate my on-deck compass. So what I'll do, I'll calibrate my on-deck compass. I look at what that's pointing at. Right now it's pointing at 10 degrees. So I'll make sure that this point's at 10 degrees too, and I know we're good to go. That was my whistle. In case I need to whistle at something. And gloves. Extra gloves. I once found I was paddling once and I met a guy who needed some gloves. It was like an hour and a half after I got off the water. But I said, no problem. We hopped in his truck, we drove down to the beach, got my gloves. He was good to go. So, it's all about the gear. Remember, it's all about the gear. Somewhat, common sense, mostly gear. And, yeah.